Ben with Super Pump Business Podcast, and I have two questions for you today. First, if you had $50 million in the bank right now, would you go to work tomorrow? It's an interesting question. Second question, if you had a contract on the table right now that would pay you $55 million a year between 2026 and 2029, so for the next 4 years, $220 million net worth, plus an additional $5 million in incentives and endorsement deals, totaling $60 million or $240 million for the next 4 years, would you go to work? That's a question that this guy right here, Mr. Joe Burrow, Mr. Cincinnati football, has been wrestling with. And he raised some eyebrows recently, and I want to read his quote correctly to you. He said, quote, "If I want to keep doing this, I have to have fun doing it. I've been through a lot, and if it's not fun, what am I doing it for?" Well, that created a massive hubbub here in Cincinnati about why would Joe Burrow leave and who could walk away from that kind of money. But when you start peeling back the layers, it becomes more complex, more nuanced. I started to think, how would I handle that situation? Because if you think about Joe Burrow, estimates are his net worth is $50 million. About 40 of that is liquid. Even if he invested super conservative, only got a 5% return on investment on the 40 million, he would still be living off $2 million a year for the rest of his life, never touch the principal. For most of us, that's a pretty good life, and a lot of us wouldn't go to work. But then you've got to consider all the money that's on the table moving forward. To think of $240 million in cash over 4 years, you think, who would not work for that kind of money? But the reality is, for all of our employees, whether they're someone as high profile as Joe Burrow or just someone who's a lowly entry-level worker in your business, the consideration is more than money. There are 5 things that employees consider when thinking about a job. First is recognition and appreciation. Check mark for Joe on that. Look at this. They're lifting him after the 2021 AFC Championship. He got to go to Super Bowls. Everybody knows him. He's beloved here in the community. So that's a reason to keep working. But career growth, that's a big fat no. This championship was 2021. The next year, they came 1 game short of the Super Bowl. And then the next 3 years, their record has gotten progressively worse. Career growth is on a downward trajectory. Then work-life balance, that's a big fat no for Joe as well. Because the reality is people are breaking into his house. He can't go out to dinner without a million adoring fans saying, "Hey, Joe, sign this, come do this." He can't be anonymous and just live like a normal guy. There is no on-off button for Joe. When he's in the public, he has to be on. No work-life balance. Fourth thing, management and ownership. These are the Bengals offices. The Bengals are notoriously the worst run, worst managed organization in the National Football League. They are the only one without a practice field. If you go just beyond this stadium here, they practice under I-75 along the highway. That is their, quote, practice facility. The league, every year, they survey all the NFL players and they talk about their amenities like the food and the chefs and the locker rooms. Do you know who ranks consistently 30, 31, 32 out of 32 teams? It's these guys, the Cincinnati Bengals. The time Joe Burrow has been here, they have struggled to get him an offensive line that can protect him, and they've struggled to get a defense. There were times where he was scoring 40 points a game, game after game after game, and they were still getting L's. It was unheard of in NFL history. If you think about management and ownership quality, big fat no. Then the final thing people look at is assurance of physical and mental health. And I want to go through Joe's physical injuries since he's worked for this organization, doing his craft on this field. 2020, completely blew out his knee, just blew up his knee. Needed surgery to reconstruct ACL, MCL, PCL, and meniscus. That is like the quadfecta of blown out knees. 2021, busted broken finger. 2022, MCL sprain in the Super Bowl. 23, calf strain to start the year. Torn wrist ligament that required surgery to end the year. And then 2025, had a turf toe, foot injury that required surgery, and he missed about half the season. when you think about the wear and tear on the body, as well as the mental stress, it is enormous. As you think about your employees, if you think just because you put together a good financial package, whether it's $55 million a year plus $5 million incentives, or whether it's whatever it is, maybe it's $40 an hour for an entry-level worker. I want you to think of what are you offering or not offering beyond that in terms of recognition, in terms of career growth, in terms of work-life balance, in terms of management and ownership quality. Are you doing the things you need to do that inspire confidence in the rank and file like Joe? Finally, are you protecting their physical and mental health? If you're not doing those things, even if you're backing up the truck full of $260 million, they might say no thanks. This has been our Super Pump podcast. I hope Joe, for my own sake as a fan, does decide to keep working and doing his trade here at the Bengals Stadium, because he is fantastic to watch. But if he were to walk away, I could completely understand, because a lot of things, including this management and this ownership group, are not trending in his favor. Thanks for joining me today. If you need help with your business, whether it's the Bengals or whether it's food or whether it's a hotel or whatever you're in, hit me up. I'd love to talk and work with your team. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed today's show, I have 2 quick next steps for you. First, subscribe or follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. And second, jump on over to superpump.com to find out all the incredible ways we can help you launch your super pumped business. Keep well, and I'll see you next time.